Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you for coming out to this presentation. You'll notice I am not Scott Kufer, COO of Nucleus. Much better looking man stands before you today. Scott said I could make that joke, so thank you. I am here. My name is Rob Gibson. I lead the product team at Nucleus, and I am happy to be here today to introduce one of our customers, Mike Dinicola of Bank of Hope, who's going to talk a little bit about his experience with Nucleus. Nucleus, for those of you who may not know, is a unified vulnerability and exposure management platform. And we could have a ton of things to say about our platform, but we're going to let one of our customers do that for us. So, Mike, go ahead and take it away. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Just a little bit about myself. My name is Mike Dinicola. I'm the Security Operations Manager at Bank of Hope. I've been in cybersecurity for over 9 years at Bank of Hope in security operations. I lead IR, vulnerability management, as well as EDR, SIM, the typical security operations things. About Bank of Hope. Bank of Hope is a mid-sized regional bank based in LA with 46 branches across the country. We are obviously a heavily regulated bank. We're obviously a heavily regulated bank, and the security operations side, we have a small team of about 6 members. And so that prevents challenges when it comes to oversight on vulnerability management. So about our challenges, number one was fragmented data. Multiple data sources that are siloed in their specific tool and non-compliant reporting. And issues with the reporting, which key fields were missing for regulatory purposes. The second thing was manual processes. Reporting to IT partners was manual process. Manual report generation took 3 to 5 hours on a weekly basis for our security analysts and engineers. Accepted risk and false positive findings had to be removed manually as a result of modern scanners do not have a good way of removing them that provides an adequate and proper audit trail. And the manual method of report generation can be error prone due to the nature of manual reporting. And the third thing is lacking context. Our ratings for vulnerabilities were solely based on CVSS scores and vendor criticality. Did not take into consideration assets that should be prioritized, nor other factors such as exploitability, public exploitability, network exposure, business criticality, and data sensitivity. How we transformed with Nucleus. We use Nucleus as a sole source of truth for the entire enterprise. All data is pulled into Nucleus. So Nucleus was the sole source of truth for vulnerability data across the enterprise. All data is pulled into Nucleus via automation rules, automation scan ingest rules. So we always have the most up-to-date data inside the Nucleus platform. And historical vulnerability data available for all vulnerabilities with timeline on remediations and key KRIs and KPIs. Secondly, business criticality. Using the Nucleus API and Flex Connect's data schema with assistance from Nucleus engineering, we integrated our internal application inventory management system, which had an incredible amount of contextual data, how critical an asset is, how much non-public personal information it had on it, and whether the asset is externally exposed. Nucleus uses this contextual data to increase or lower risk scores based on severity of the asset to the organization. Threat intelligence. With Nucleus Insights, we can consider real-world threat intelligence that Nucleus provides native in their platform, contextualizing threat intelligence such as if there's a public exploit available, likelihood to be exploited, and whether it's being exploited by malware. They also have 12 other data sources, including Man-the Advantage, Shadow Server, and others. Automated triage, the biggest advantage to the Nucleus platform, bar none, is automation. Our biggest automation use case was for false positives and accepted risk. Being in a highly regulated industry, we needed to be accountable for all vulnerabilities that we deem a false positive or accepted risk. Nucleus provides a complete audit trail when it comes to false positives and accepted risk vulnerabilities, including the ability to comment, write notes, and have an expiration date for each vulnerability. Real world context. Number one, context is king. Being able to take into consideration the context of each asset, where is it located, what does it do, what kind of data is stored on it, is key to have a risk-based approach to vulnerability management. Without context, you can't properly prioritize vulnerabilities. Proactive risk reduction. At Bank of Hope, we went from reactive patching to the ability to be proactive by proper risk rating each asset and therefore our vulnerabilities. We had the ability to not have to be fighting to catch up to vulnerabilities because of the amount of criticals and highs we have that were determined by CVSS, and now being able to focus on the actual risk to the organization. Now let's take a look at the outcomes. Number one, the outcomes speak for themselves. 0 critical vulnerabilities in over a year. We gained the ability to reduce our SLAs by policy for critical vulnerabilities from 22 days to 48 hours. We also had the ability to reduce SLAs for high vulnerabilities from 32 days to 14 days. IT partners no longer have to do emergency patching for critical vulnerabilities due to prioritization based on risk. When we align security goals with company goals, we no longer have to rush patching on critical assets and for critical vulnerabilities with no context behind it, ensuring system stability and less interruption for productivity. Key takeaways. Number one, context is king. By providing context to assets and vulnerabilities, we received a true risk-based approach to vulnerability management. Automation is essential to modern security operations. Manual work leads to errors and ties up security staff in mundane work that can be automated to achieve better productivity. We talked about using automation for false positives and accepted risks. There are tons of use cases with Nucleus that you can use, such as assigning vulnerabilities to specific teams, assigning assets to different asset groups, and anything you can pretty much imagine, you can use the Nucleus automation. And finally, choosing the right partner and tool that benefits your organization is critical to achieving success in creating a strength in vulnerability management, which is typically a weakness for organizations. And for us, Nucleus was the right partner to transform us to a true risk-based approach in vulnerability management. I appreciate everybody coming out, and thank you for listening to me, and I'll be around if anybody has any questions.
Want to do some Q&A? Hey, thanks, Mike, for the presentation. We really appreciate you taking the time to do that and preparing that. And kudos on some of those metrics that you were sharing. Congratulations, those are really impressive. The 95% SLA adherence under 48 hours for critical vulns is something that stood out to me. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about some of the asset contextual integrations that we did with you, just to give folks a little bit more color for how we achieved some of those outcomes.
Yeah, so asset contextualization, for us internally, we use our internal tools. So we have an application inventory management, which has a list of applications with servers associated with it, and it has how much MPPI on that if it's network exposed. So we use the Flex Connect data schema to via APIs to integrate that, and then we use the automation rules to say if so we have like on our application inventory we have a BCP tier, so 0 to 5 critical to lowest. So we use those automation rules to automatically assign business criticality and PPI criticality and network exposure to each of the assets determined by our application inventory system.
And so those were all things that without Nucleus, not really possible to do that, or at least it would have taken a lot of manual effort to pull those things off.
It would be 100% manual without using Nucleus.
That's great, thank you. I wanted to open it up to any questions from the audience. If anyone has any questions they want to ask for Mike. Ooh, stand back here. Happy to take those now at this time. I usually like to wait until it gets a little awkward in the room when we do some Q&A. It's getting there. So the question was about, there were some audits that Mike's team went through and were able to achieve sort of different outcomes with those audits after the integrations with Nucleus.
Yeah, so audit time, it makes it a lot easier having the consolidated platform. We don't have to go to different tools and see if we can pull up the reports. And our previous systems didn't have a good way to track the false positives and accepted risks. And one of our systems specifically didn't have a way to track discovered date, which is critical to SLAs and all that kind of stuff. So by using Nucleus, we can have that discovered state, so that's no longer an audit issue. And then we can just package up an easy to produce report from Nucleus and give it to auditors, and it's pretty much all done. They kind of commended us on the reporting structure of Nucleus.
So to summarize that, it's kind of a clean data platform where the normalized data from Nucleus, from the different sources that you integrate with, and then the workflows on top of that, the reporting engine on top of that, that allows you to get that information out. So you have the clean data that comes out easily for you to make use of. That's a great story. So, what's that? Oh, we're gonna get the next slides here. So that's the booth number there. If you want to come by and see a demo of Nucleus or schedule one for a future time or just talk with us a little bit more, we'd be happy to have you. Just a short walk over there. But yeah, thank you again, everybody, for coming out. And thanks again, Mike. Appreciate it.